Hi everybody, Lisa from the Craft Room in Basel here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make moss stitch, which is also sometimes called seed stitch. It's a nice simple pattern made with single crochets and chain ones, just alternating them. We'll see how that works. It gives you a really nice even pattern for things like blankets or squares. Okay, so this is our moss stitch. And what you can see is that it's made up of single crochets and chains. So what you do is you do a single crochet and then you chain one and do a single crochet, and then on the following row you do your single crochets underneath the chains that you did in between your stitches. If I just pull it apart a little bit, you can see that these single crochets sit in the chain space that's between the two below, and it gives you this really nice kind of even look. It's the same on both sides and it looks really pretty. It especially looks pretty if you've got a colour changing yarn, because then you see different colours on top of each other, so that can look really pretty. So how does that work? Let's grab some yarn. Okay, so we need to start with an even number of chains to make moss stitch. Okay, so I am going to start with 12 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, 12. Okay, so here's my chain. So now let's have a look. So we need to start our first single crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's where my first single crochet is going to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can put your hook underneath the top loop if you want, if that's how you do your crocheting into chains. I like to put them below, so underneath there, so that I get 2 loops on top of my hook. I just think it's a neater edge. So that's where I'm doing my first single crochet. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to skip my next chain. So that chain there, I'm going to skip it. And then I'm going to put my next single crochet into the following one. Okay, so there is where I'm going to put my next one. Okay, and then chain 1. And then skip a stitch, so skip a chain and then into that one. And we should be finishing with a single crochet. So single crochet, chain 1, and then, oops, I've just got my yarn caught. And then skip 1, single crochet, and then I should have 2 chains left. Let's have a look. So yes, so 2 chains left. So I've got one chain, and then my last single crochet goes into that last chain there. Oops, just going to have to wiggle it a little bit. There we go. That's my last single crochet. So that's my first row. So I should be finishing on a single crochet. I started in the 4th chain from the hook, finish with a single crochet. So my next row, I'm going to chain 2. And that's my turning chain. And then this is the chain that sits on top of this single crochet. Okay, so turning chain, and then that chain sits on top of this single crochet. Okay, so let's turn around. So my first single crochet has to go in the chain space between my 2 single crochets from the row below. So you can put it apart to see where that chain space is, or you can also just look for the legs. So if I have a little look here, these are the legs of my single crochets. So my stitch is going to go in between them. So that's where my chain is. That's where my first single crochet is going to go. Okay, so pop my hook in between the 2 stitches underneath that chain and make a single crochet. And then I do chain 1, and then my next stitch goes into that chain space again. So between these 2 stitches, so that's my 1 single crochet, that's the next one. My hook goes between them underneath the chain, and I do a single crochet and then a chain 1, and so on. So between the 2 single crochets underneath the chain is where my next one goes, and then chain 1, and then into that gap between the 2 stitches, single crochet, chain 1, and now I'm back at the beginning, and so I've got 1 single crochet here, and then I've got this chain, which is where I started. So I need to do my last stitch into that chain. So always finish your row with a single crochet. Okay, and we'll just do one more row. So chain 2, so 1 turning chain, 1 chain that sits on top of this single crochet below, turn it round, skip this single crochet, your hook goes in between the 2 stitches underneath the chain. Okay, single crochet, chain 1, skip that single crochet, your stitch goes in there between the 2 single crochets, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and then again between the 2 stitches underneath the chain, that's where my single crochet goes, chain 1, and then my last stitch goes into this chain 2, or around this chain 2 that we started the row with. So there. Okay, and that's how moss stitch works. So start with an even number of chains. Your first stitch goes into the 4th chain from the hook, and you always finish your row with a single crochet, and then your next row, chain 2, and don't forget to put your last single crochet into the chain at the end. And that's moss stitch.